In the shadow of the Cold War, a conflict erupted that would become the second deadliest in African history, surpassed only by the Congo crisis. It was a war born from the scars of colonialism, a brutal struggle for survival and identity. This is the story of the Nigerian Civil War, a conflict that pitted brother against brother and left wounds that have yet to fully heal. Nigeria, a giant of Africa, was a mosaic of over 250 ethnic groups, artificially bound by British colonial lines, when independence arrived in 1960. Deep-seated tensions simmered beneath the surface. The North, predominantly Hausa Fulani and Muslim, held political power. The West, mainly Yoruba, and the East, largely Igbo and Christian, felt marginalized. The discovery of oil in the East only added fuel to the fire, turning regional disputes into a fight for the nation's soul. In 1966, two military coups shattered the fragile peace. The first, led by Igbo officers, was seen by many in the North as an Igbo power grab. The retaliatory counter-coup 6 months later was followed by horrific pogroms targeting Igbo civilians living in the North. Thousands were killed, and over 1 million fled back to their eastern homeland, carrying with them tales of unimaginable horror. For them, Nigeria was no longer a safe home. On May 30, 1967, the military governor of the eastern region, a charismatic Oxford-educated officer named Chuckwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, made a fateful declaration, citing the massacres and the inability of the central government to protect his people. He proclaimed the independent Republic of Biafra. The Nigerian government, led by General Yakubu Gowon, refused to accept secession. The stage was set for war. What followed was not just a battle of armies, but a war against the people. The Nigerian military, superior in numbers and firepower, launched a full-scale invasion. Their most devastating weapon, however, was not a gun, but a blockade. By sealing Biafra's borders by land, sea, and air, they cut off food, medicine, and essential supplies. The world watched in horror as images of starving children with swollen bellies filled television screens. This was kwashiorkor, the disease of protein deficiency, and it became a symbol of Biafra's agony. The war became an international affair. Britain and the Soviet Union, keen to protect their oil interests and the integrity of a united Nigeria, supplied arms to the federal government. France, seeing an opportunity to weaken a British-aligned power, provided covert support to Biafra. Humanitarian organizations flew daring nighttime missions to bring in aid. Their efforts were a drop in the ocean against a tide of starvation. On the ground, the fighting was brutal. From the siege of Port Harcourt to the bloody battles for Onitsha and Umuahia, both sides fought with desperate ferocity. The Biafrans, though outgunned, showed incredible ingenuity, creating homemade weapons and refining their own fuel. But courage alone could not defeat a blockade. The war descended into a grim stalemate of attrition, where the primary victims were civilians caught in the crossfire or dying silently in a famine-stricken land. By late 1969, Biafra was on the brink of collapse. Its territory had shrunk to a small, landlocked enclave. Its people were exhausted, its soldiers running out of ammunition. On January 15, 1970, after 2.5 years of brutal conflict and the loss of up to 2 million lives, mostly from starvation, Biafra surrendered. Ojukwu fled into exile, and the war was over. General Gowon declared a policy of no victor, no vanquished, aiming for reconciliation and reintegration. The 3 R's: reconstruction, rehabilitation, and reconciliation became the national mantra. But for many, the promises felt hollow. The Igbo people, who had lost fortunes, faced a long and difficult road to recovery.